you. In compliance with New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231 of PL 1975, I hereby declare that adequate notice of this meeting has been provided, specifying that this meeting will be held on this date, May 18, 2015, in the Municipal Building, 55 River Road, Edgewater, New Jersey, at 7 p.m. This notice was published in the Record in Jersey Journal, posted on the bulletin board in the lobby of the Borough Hall, and posted on the borough's website. Could you please stand and join me for a salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Could you just please remain standing for just a moment? Just recently we had a death in what I would call our family of Officer Kurt Hayden. He retired in April of 2004 after 36 years of service. He was a good friend, a good police officer, and a great resident of Edgewater. Just a moment of silence, please. Thank you. Be seated.
All right, I'll be coffee on that.
Okay, the first thing I want to do is kind of give a mayoral update that I've been giving in the beginning of the meeting so far. And the first thing I'm going to do is going to read off this press release dated May 18th, 2015. Borough of Edgewater Veterans Field remediation of Little League Field completion by Borough Administrator Gregory France. The Borough of Edgewater is pleased to announce that on Friday, May 22nd, 2015, the James Monroe Memorial Little League Field at Veterans Field will be turned over to the Borough of Edgewater for official use for the play of Little League games. On January 28th, 2015, the Borough of Edgewater awarded the contract to Tomco Construction of Mount Arlington, New Jersey for the installation of a turf playing surface. In less than 4 months, a spectacular new playing field has been constructed. The sound of Little League baseball and the sounds of children's laughter and play will again become the normal, the way it's supposed to be. Subject to the approval of the borough's licensed site remediation professional, First Environment, the Little League field, the basketball courts, and the children's playground at the community center will once again be open for use by our children and residents. The Borough of Edgewater is very pleased with the outcome and its ability to reach its goal of having the Little League field, basketball courts, and playground turned over to the borough by Memorial Day. The borough is confident and comfortable with its decision to utilize a turf playing surface on the Little League field rather than natural grass. The results of utilizing a turf product speak for itself. The facility is spectacular and ready for use. Natural grass or sod would have required a 2-year growing period before use, time that the Borough of Edgewater felt was too long given the time the field has been closed due to remediation. The next phase of our project is to complete the restoration of all other areas of Veterans Field. The Borough is working with its professionals and the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection to update its plan and specifications prior to going out to a competitive bid to select a contractor to complete this final phase of the project. The Borough is most proud of the significant achievement it has made with the completion of the Little League field and is most anxious to complete the final phase of the project so that the Borough of Edgewater can once again have a premier recreational facility for both passive and active recreation along the Hudson River. Okay, now we have the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of April 20th, 2015, and of the special meeting of not that special meeting as well, just a special vote. Okay. Can I get a roll call? Not there?
Don't need it.
Okay, we'll bang it up. A motion to
approve the bid?
Yeah.
We're at D, open meeting to the public.
No, I couldn't approve the bid.
Your pleasure.
Well, I would like, the way it reads on mine, it says the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of April 20th. Can we have a motion for that?
So moved.
Okay, second roll call.
Councilman Henry.
Here, yes.
Councilwoman Muller. Yes. Councilman Monty.
Yes.
Councilman Vidal.
Yes.
Councilman Bartolome.
Yes.
Going to now open the meeting to the public. Can I have a motion to open the meeting to the public, please?
So moved.
A second.
Honey?
Okay, Councilman Henry.
Yes.
Councilwoman Muller. Yes. Councilman Monty.
Yes.
Councilman Brandel.
Yes.
Councilman Martellino.
Yes.
Meeting is now open to the public. Does anyone from the public would like to be heard? Mary?
Mary Hogan, 606 Underwood Avenue. We've complained about this before, and I really don't know why it is or who is protecting the developer on the west side of Underwood Avenue, just south of North Street. But their property continues to be, and it's really the only one in all the construction that I can see, wide open, no fencing up, no gates. Yesterday, they were working on Sunday, which I don't believe you're allowed, according to our ordinance. And this is now the second full year that the kids have not had a sidewalk. I have 6 kids that live next door to me. 5 of them walk up either to use that bus stop or walk up to the George Washington School. And in all cases, they have to cross the street without the crossing guard, because the crossing guard is up on North Street, to get onto the east side, the west side, the east side sidewalk to walk up to North Street, because there's no sidewalk on the west side because of this construction site. But it is absolutely, they are absolutely just ignoring everybody, all the rules and regulations. The place is wide open on both pieces. The one, the building is almost complete, the other they're still working on. And it's like, it's just a disgrace. I don't understand why the one just south of me is where it used to be 594 Undercliff. They put fences up every night, they worked on it, they close it up. And why this particular property up in just south of North Street should not have to obey any of the rules. I also had put in an open request for all the vouchers and et cetera and the checks that were paid on the Veterans Field, and received all of them and paid $75 for the copies. Then I also asked for a copy of the ledger sheet, and I received this, which is not really what I asked for. This, I think, is the budget, the ledger sheet of the budget. It's page 5, and all it tells me is that the first payment, the first bond was $9,700,000, and after they paid the bills, it was short over $3 million. So they got a new ordinance and added an additional $4 million, and now they're down to a balance of $256,000. That's not the one that you're approving tonight. The reason I wanted to know that was because in all the organizations I've ever been in, when the treasurer does his report, he'll say, this is the opening balance. I paid out this check, this check, this check, this check. This is the ending balance. I don't think that's difficult. I don't think you have to do it on every ordinance. But when we're up to $19 million, I think the public has the right to know how that money is being spent and not have to pay $75 to get the copies of this stuff, because when we ask for it meeting after meeting after meeting, our illustrious borough attorney tells us, oh, print. I don't think the public should have to pay for that information. I think that should be available, and I think you guys should be giving a report. It's very nice that this is done, and it's gonna be open, and we're all thrilled, and all the pictures are pretty. I'd like to know how we spent $13 million and now going up to $19 million tonight. That, I think the public has the right to know without having to pay for it. Thank you.
Everyone else from the public would like to be heard tonight? Mr. Danzig?
Tom Chancey, 611 Undercliff Avenue, Edgewater. Mr. Mayor, I think all the respective council members have a copy of this in front of them. leave it up here. Basically what it is, it's a breakdown of gradables in town. Money's received, money's expended for educational purposes. As you recall, we looked under council members on the dais. This was done roughly 5 to 6 years ago. Probably a little bit more elaborate. It entailed maybe 20 to 25 parcels of the property. Here are basically restricted to 6 or 7 as outlined. And the purpose of that was to find out where wasted monies. You read the Edgewater view, you see the school board going up $170. Why? Well, I think this explains it. We also hear a comment time and time again that gradables only, for every dollar received, you're spending $1.50 or $2. Well, that's just not necessarily so. And those that espouse that philosophy are probably responsible for basically the increases that you folks are carrying. We'll get to the information. If you look at Hudson Harbor, number of units, 242. Number of GW students and GW is 18. We own you 4. I'll give you one example, and it's the same throughout. Total taxes paid for Hudson Harbor, $1,145,115. Educational costs, $357,066. Balance, $788,048. That goes for your municipal and your county. Now, you folks didn't establish your 2015 rate, so I used the 14 rate, of which 40 cents of every dollar goes for educational purposes. On a number of these, like Hudson Harbor, One Hudson Park, Admiral's Wharf, Independence Harbor, Mariners, Tower, River Club, and Avalon, you'll see the contrasting difference between high-rise versus low-rise development. And in each and every case, you have a cash flow going into your cooperative after paying for educational purposes. One Hudson Park, in fact, on several of them, they're below the 40%, and that's additional surplus. Admiral's Walk is a little bit higher, roughly 200,000 higher. If you multiply 40%, 0.4 times the taxes paid, you can do the easy calculation. Everything else over and above should go into your general office. Except 2 low-rise. 2 low-rise, and they're pretty consistent from 08-09 when the economy dropped and we had a drastic increase in our school system. What's consistent is 2 developments. First of all, River Club. At that time, back in 08-09, they were consuming 93% of every tax dollar garnered. River Club, total taxes paid, $782,000. Educational purposes, $772,547. There is absolutely no money to go for municipal purposes and county purposes. 99% of every tax dollar derived goes for educational purposes. Avalon, one that Ms. Hogan is very familiar with because she championed the complex back on her time on the council. Avalon, 408 units. There's 130 students. 130, 112 in the lower grades, in the 7th and 8th, and high school, another 18. Total revenue generated, $1,701,000. Total educational cost, $2,105,925. 40% of that, $1,007,000 is $680,000. You can see how much, do the numbers yourself, it's $1,004,000. You only have a little, you have to go out and borrow $405,000 from other projects that generate. So when you're talking low-rise rentals, it generates a substantial number of students versus high-rise. The second, on page 2, and this is very sore to me because it's something, Mr. Hamlin, I worked with your father years ago in getting a 5-year abatement. And if I can indulge, Mr. Mayor, because I find this very important. It's not just, this is the The property that we got from Olympia York, Admiral's York, we were denied by the Board of Education, Mr. DePaul and his colleagues back then. The purpose why we received that property, and we could have asked for any item, a number of items. We wanted that school property because there's no replacement around EVG. And since it was centralized, we had school expansion in mind. Well, we were denied. This is the administrative cost for this year at George Washington. $537,395. That's over $500,000 per year. If you continue that for a 30-year bond, of which the school is, that's over $16 million extra that this community is paying. Unnecessarily had that board taken the appropriate action and got that property. It would have been under one roof for your education.
Okay, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to be heard? Valerie?
Valerie Martinez, 16 Hudson Terrace, Edgewater, New Jersey. Mr. Bartolomeo, I can take that information and report it back to your wife. I see this picture, it's beautiful, and I thank you for that report, Mayor. However, I still have a lot of concerns with the dumping of the toxins on there by Waterside Construction. I'm not talking about the Little League field, I'm talking about the park. And I say this because I recently had a health scare, and thank goodness it was just a scare, not that I'm not trying to elicit sympathy, but I want to make a point that it struck home to me that a lot of the issues, health issues in Edgewater, have their roots at environmental issues. I'm not placing the blame on this mayor and council. You're relatively new. You don't bear the responsibility of what happens in the past, but I do hold you responsible for what's happening now and what will happen. And I say this because my concern is the majority of members here have or had personal relationship with Mr. Fred Dives, who is the owner of Waterside Construction. And Mr. Henwood, I remember your comments about saying, well, you know, is this slander? Well, everything I say, I could back up. I'm not speaking to embarrass anybody. I do know your skeletons in the closet, and I've kept them close to my pocket for now. I'm saying this because, you know, this planet, we know, has issues, environmental issues, global warming, and there's nothing you guys can do about that. But locally, you are responsible. You are the people we hold responsible to look after our needs. If you're not going to do it, if you're not going to worry, not about me, I already know how you care about me. I'm talking about your children. You have children. You have children. You have nieces and a nephew, Mr. Henwood. Ms. Lawler, you have children and you have grandchildren. Mr. Bartolomeo, you have children. Ms. O'Connor, she's not a voting member here, has children. Mr. Franz, you spend enough time here, but your kids don't live here. We all have children, and if you're not going to put them first, and I'm asking you, because so far what I've seen doesn't seem like you are, you know, and I say this because of your actions of dropping the RICO count on the lawsuit, which every attorney I spoke to cannot believe you did that. That's the essence of your that's your strength in the lawsuit, and you dropped it. And the fact that in some public statements, you know, there are statements made recently in the newspaper saying we're going to attempt to recoup this, the money. Well, I don't think attempting is strong enough. you know? I wanna hear, and I'm sure other taxpayers wanna hear, that you're going to fight, like before, pre-election, pre-November 2004 election, when you said in your literature, in your political literature, and in statements here and statements to the newspaper, that you were going to seek, and I have it written down, it's in the minutes, every avenue, you were going to litigate every possible person, and you cited the list. Notably, Mr. Brian Christensen was not on that list. I don't understand why, since he was down there, you know, as the consultant every day. If anybody should have seen what was going on, it should have been him.
Ms. Bodine?
I digress. Just
Thank
one
you.
more thing, just one more thing. Like I said, I'm not saying this to insult you. I'm trying to elicit some sort of compassion for the people who live here, for our kids.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to get in the back, Mr. Sabatsky?
James Watsky, 3 Valley Place, Edgewater, New Jersey. Well, thank you guys for everything so far. I was just wondering, on the stairs coming from Route 5 up into Valley Place, it's been overgrown there for a couple of years. And when I asked some people in the DPW, they told me it was state property. And I was just wondering if maybe that could somehow be cleaned up. I saw it south of the stairs being cleaned up by someone took over the park. And they would have that spot cleaned up very nicely. I was just wondering if there could be any attempt that maybe they could come and maybe do some work and clean that up a little bit and make it, you know, respectable for, as it always has been in the past. And again, I know it's state land. Would that come under Green Acres? Would anybody like go in there or anything? Or is that something different?
I don't think it's green acres.
No? Okay, thank you.
Anyone else from the public wishing to be heard? Ma'am?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Joyce Belfield. I live at 1150 River Road in Edgewater. And I'd like to bring a matter of concern to the Borough of Edgewater with a request that Edgewater join Bergen County and most of the other towns in Bergen County who adopted a stigma-free zone campaign. This campaign is designed to bring awareness of mental illness to all of the citizens, and because the statistics are that I believe it's 1 in 4 and 1 in 10 of our children will become afflicted with some form of this. Being that our town has grown in exponential numbers and our local school system is primarily lower grades and our children are shipped off to another jurisdiction for the upper grades, that having this resolution adopted would gain help for our younger students and understanding for our entire community that children who are victims of any number of things, including autism and other illnesses, are not children, small children forever. They grow up, they get older. As they get older, their illnesses still are the same. And there has to be a overt attempt to educate all of our citizens that these are not people to be afraid of, people to be, you know, shunned and not assisted in any way. The Bergen County Mental Health Board has designed an entire program that's almost like a plug and play. That this is the PowerPoint. Before I didn't have opportunity to photocopy it for everybody, but I could do it if somebody could. Yeah, it's Xerox machine, and it basically puts this is a brochure from Paramus. Instead of Paramus, you have Edgewater, and it would outline the entire program. And also, there's a big important facet is to educate our police department. To my knowledge, our police department is solely lacking in their ability to deal with people who have mental illnesses because of one thing only, and that is lack of education. There is a program that goes along here with this Bergen County, New Jersey is responding to a mental health crisis, law enforcement and mental health. That this is an educational program that will allow our officers with proper training to be able to respond as first responders to these kinds of emergencies as they come up within our community. I think it would be a very positive step that Edgewater take the lead front, as it does in a lot of things, to keep Edgewater, as Mr. Francis article says, a great place to live. And that in that regard, there is a mental health first aid training. I just completed the course this past weekend, and now I'm a certified trainer. And I would be more than happy to discuss with any or all of you all the details of this. And also, you can go on bergenhealth.org, and Michelle Hart-Laughlin is the head of the program, and she'd be more than happy to get in touch with you and to discuss the matter fully. And I just would hope that Edgewater would participate. I think it's just so important. And the stigma attached to mental illness is the thing that keeps people who are suffering from seeking the help that they need. And it knows no gender, this doesn't discriminate because of gender, race, creed, or ethnic origin at all. So, and I don't know if there's any facet or police department that is specifically equipped to deal with our Asian citizens that live here in Edgewater. And it would be appropriate to have this be across the board something that you would consider. Thank you very much for the time.
Anyone else in the public wish to be heard? Mr. Gallagher.
Dennis Gallagher, 18 Orange. More than a year ago, well, more than a year ago, I asked what was being done about televising the proceedings. As far as I know, nothing's happened in that period of time. I've been reassured by you that you were taking care of it. How's it going? Second, you're 5 minutes.
Mr. Gallagher, if you're familiar with the forum, what we do here is we give everybody their 5 minutes, and after it's done, we'll try to answer your questions, and if we don't have answers for it, we'll definitely have answers for it.
There's Mr. Davies has a yard full of material. I know we're concerned about elsewhere in town. What do you think about that? Anybody got any idea what that is? That yard? It's a yard, but it's much more than a yard. It's a big collection of who knows what. And I would appreciate it if you would actually look into these things. As far as I know, we don't get to.
Thank you. Anyone else in the public wish to be heard? The gentleman in the back.
Sorry, my name is Kevin Ferrari from 168 Cliff Avenue. The issue that I want to raise here is about these incessant, non-stop low-flying helicopters. I don't know if anybody in this borough has been involved, but there has been a big campaign going on against these helicopter tours, especially that are pretty much non-stop. The majority of these are pretty much for pleasure. Tourism helicopters, a fraction of them that happen to be actually the most strongest are commuter helicopters that obviously are at the service of the richest, wealthiest people who transfer them back into Wall Street from probably somewhere northern New Jersey or northern New York City. What I've noticed the pattern is in a way that they try to distance themselves as far away from New York City, and they actually fly right on the land, shaking buildings and shaking apartments and people's dinner tables. As a physician, I have done quite a bit of research and literature. There's a slew of health problems caused by these types of noises. starting from insomnia and fatigue and anxiety in adults, and most importantly, and it's just proven, most importantly, learning disability in children. And I mean, a society that doesn't really care about the livelihood of their children and trades them with